I don't think so. Okay, good. Thank you.
There are still some seats in the front for those who want. Hello, I'm Véronique Roquet-Montégon, in charge of global media for Schneider Electric. Welcome today to this Schneider Electric Hannover Messe 2019 media conference, which is live on YouTube. First, I want to welcome all of you in the room and that are following us on YouTube. Before we start, I would like to remind you that we organize a guided booth tour at 4:30 p.m. today, and Marie-Beth in the room will give the tour, and you can meet us at the on button sign on our booth located in Hall 11, C58. Hall 11, C58. Now, I would like to introduce you to Jean-Pascal Tricoire, our chairman and CEO, and Peter Herweck, our executive vice president for industrial automation. They will present to you how Schneider Electric is making the digital transformation easier for customers. And then after, we will have a Q&A session. Jean-Pascal, the floor is yours.
Right. Thank you, Véronique. Good afternoon to all of you. Thank you for being with us this afternoon and to share this moment together. So together with Peter, we're going to go through what we want to be a quick presentation of Schneider, what we do, but what we do in digital. the news that the new things that we present during this Hannover Messe. And we're going to speak about a new thing called Exchange, which links us digitally to the ecosystem of partners and developers who are gravitating around Schneider. So stay tuned, and let's start immediately, and let's speak about first, what does Schneider do? What's our purpose? What's our mission? We've been convinced since a long time that, access to energy and access to digital in the 21st century are fundamental human rights. And we as a company, we are a technology provider and have been striving to provide those two things to everybody on the planet. At the same time, as we do that, it emits energy, and we have to resolve the climate change deadlock and make sure that we increase the efficiency of everything we do in the world by a factor of 3. So what we do at Schneider is very simple. We bring the technology to empower all to do more while using less of the resources, on making sure that life is on everywhere for everyone and at every moment. And for people who've lived in emerging countries, which is my case, everybody that has done that knows that life is not really on if you don't have access to energy, which is the base for a decent life, and access to digital, which is your access, your fundamental access to progress. On the second part there that we see as part of our mission is that by definition, Schneider has always been a company of partnership. We work with partners, we work with suppliers who are partners, we work with integrators who integrate our technology. And what we want is to empower all to do the things that I described, and therefore want the community to be empowered by our technology. And this is the whole purpose of Exchange that I'm going to describe a little bit later. We think, and we are really passionate about one thing, is that this mission that we want to accomplish is happening at a time when there are two technologies disruption as we speak. The first one is the explosion of the Internet of Things. While the episode 1 of the Internet was connecting people to people, and that started in the 90s, what we are doing today is to connect everything around us together onto people using them. The second disruption is that electricity, the world is electrifying, because electricity may not be a source of energy, but it's the only vector of consumption of energy which enables decarbonation. And when you combine the two, and the two combine very well because there are big electrons and small electrons, then you can get access to step changes in the level of efficiency. And at the same time, we discovered that we have the deadlock of energy to resolve, increase efficiency, comes those two major evolutions that we can combine to bring new solutions. So this is Schneider as we speak. End of 2018, 26 billion euro of turnover, 5% of our turnover dedicated to R&D, 137,000 people all over the world. Probably one characteristic to integrate is that I think in our universe we are the most global company, roughly the same turnover in Asia-Pac, in West Europe, in North America, and still a very important part of our business in even faster emerging parts of the world like South America, Africa, Middle East, and Eastern Europe. Another thing is that where do we apply those technologies of efficiency that I was describing? Half of it in what I would consider the commercial environment, buildings and IT. We are the biggest supplier in the world of energy infrastructure to data centers. So every time you click on the internet, well, in 25 to 40% of the cases, you are powered by Schneider, right? And we try to do it efficiently. And 50% in everything which is related to industry and infrastructure. Going to the next one, we are combining two big technologies to supply more efficiency. One is energy management, 20 billion euro of turnover across the world, clearly a number one position, and 6 billion euro of industrial automation, which is digitization cockpit of what we do, and which combined with energy provides two forms of efficiency, energy efficiency and process efficiency, to supply a complete solution of efficiency and sustainability to our customers. And you see that you are very knowledgeable of our sector, that we are actually going along two major transitions that are happening at the moment, one being the energy transition, the second one being Industry 4.0, which is putting IT or merging together the world of IT and the world of OT. With benefits which are very clear: energy efficiency, productivity, more reliability and safety for operators, especially when you speak about augmented reality, accompanying guys on the shop floor, on making their job better defined and easier to follow or easier to realize. And of course, sustainability. Take our company, we've decided to be fully carbon neutral by 2030, and we are on the clear path to achieve this objective. You're gonna hear in the next 50 minutes a lot about EcoStruxure. And when you come to visit us on the booth, it's all EcoStruxure. The fundamental benefit of digitization is putting together all the elements of your environment, a plug-and-play platform. EcoStruxure was initially born in 1997. For those who have followed Schneider for a long time, it was called at that time Transparent Factory, and I would dare to say that we are the first company to bring the internet and the Ethernet on the shop floor at that time. The first version of EcoStruxure was, which was the evolution of Transparent Factory, was launched in 2009. And 10 years after, we've got 10 years of experience in EcoStruxure on every of the system of Schneider, from the standards of connectivity of the products to the networks, to the way we have developed APIs, is all consistent around the platform of EcoStruxure. And when we define EcoStruxure, we say it's a technology platform. It's a set of expertise, segment by segment, vertical by vertical. These are tools for the life cycle of the installations. And this is about communities. That means linking digitally all the people who work and collaborate on systems, on installations. So EcoStruxure, very simple, 3 layers: connected products, second layer, control, third layer, analytics, software application that gives sense to the connected products, supported by one cloud infrastructure. Actually, our customers can choose to be hosted on our cloud or to be deploying EcoStruxure on their private cloud, and supported by a set of cybersecurity services for a full integration. 4 segments that we serve, nothing new. This is what I explained before. And we combine 6 domains together in every application. So EcoStruxure power, building, IT, machine, plant, and grid. A typical factory would be putting together an EcoStruxure power to digitize the management of power distribution, an EcoStruxure IT for the local data center, an EcoStruxure building for the building management of the factory, and EcoStruxure machine and plant for the automation of the process, right? But we have always thought that we should still respect the specialization of people coming together at the level of the factory. So the guys in charge of IT will find its environment of digital development around EcoStruxure IT, and the process guy will find its environment of development around EcoStruxure plant. What we discovered at Schneider in our journey of digitization, if you rewind back 15 years ago, we are mostly a company of products. We went into digitization, and when you go into digitization, there is one big characteristic, that you start living with your customer. So suddenly our customers were not interested anymore in talking products, they wanted to talk data center, hospital, oil and gas, and mining. So by recruiting people, training people, buying companies, we developed capabilities of community of 20,000 people able to speak the language and the exact language of our customers. Consequence, over the past 10 years, we've tripled size. So we tripled the size because we added people who were able to speak software, people able to speak application, and we still do products and technology, but half of the company is now doing solutions and speaking absolutely the language of our customers. Last point I want to mention is that when we speak about efficiency, we have a very strong belief at Schneider, is that real efficiency can be achieved only around 3 integrations, and actually 3 plus 1. The first integration is the one of power and automation for energy and process efficiency, because those two go strictly together. The second integration, which is provided by EcoStruxure, is from the connected products on the shop floor to software and cloud applications. And this has to be absolutely seamless. If I've got one problem happening on the pump on the shop floor, it should come immediately declared on the digital twin. And the third integration is the life cycle integration, making sure that from design into commissioning, into operation, into maintenance, the whole digital twin journey is completely integrated so that you can learn from the operation and bring that back into the design phase and make sure there is no rupture or no cost in going from the design and commissioning into the operation. The fourth integration, which is really important, is integrating all the ecosystem working together on a project, and this is the topic of exchange. But power, automation, shop floor to cloud, all life cycle is what EcoStruxure brings to our customers, and not many companies are able to deliver that form of integration in a practical manner. So now, as I go forward, I would like to hand over the mic to Peter, who will go more into the details. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon also from my side. Is the mic on? Yes, I think it's on. So talking about these three transformations, many of our customers say, well, you know, how can you help us to be successful in our digital journey? And you know, here are some of the things that we tell them. You know, it starts off with that you have domain expertise in the area. You know, that's the person that can talk about the hospital, about the oil and gas plant, about a chemical plant, about a fine chemical plant, a food and beverage, or the packaging application, with a solid architecture. That's of course EcoStruxure, and then a successful platform. And we'll be talking about this later on. Many of our customers are also a little bit, I don't want to say confused, but they don't know how to get started. So we want to make it very easy for them to get started. And we're showing a couple of new things today at the Hannover Fair for them to get the digital journey very easily started. Then, of course, it's the integration of the horizontal end-to-end software that Jean-Pascal has mentioned, and quite a few new things that I'm going to be talking about today, which we do together with our software company called AVEVA. Many of you who follow us have known that we've merged our Schneider Electric software with AVEVA around about 1 year ago and listed it in the UK stock market. So the company has increased market capitalization by 80% in the last 12 months and has grown substantially. It's sums to almost $1 billion of revenue, meanwhile only on the software side. And then finally, Pascal will talk about the ecosystem. Now, some of the things that we're going to be showing very new here at the Hannover Fair is the integration on the power and automation side. One of the very new products that will come is the ESA-G P5, which supports that, and I'll talk about those in detail. The end-to-end integration from the connected product all the way to the cloud is our new solution that we'll bring to help our customers automate in the machinery space with a significant cost reduction. And then the third transformation is the end-to-end software, and I show you a customer example and how easy it is to do something that looks extremely complicated. Now, if we want to start the journey on the electro-intensive industries, where of course everybody knows we have quite a bit of domain expertise, and of course our EcoStruxure architecture, we've come out with a new system that can help the customer increase their safety. That's what they're worried about. Of course, their enhanced flexibility. As they digitize, of course, they're all worried about cybersecurity. In particular, if you're in energy-intensive industries, of course, energy is the first mean to get your process done. And with the ESA-G P5, you see the connection here. For those who are on the technical side, you see this is a valve, or you may have a motor or a pump that's controlled by a motor, and the motor is connected to the energy management system, motor control center, and so forth. So the connection is clearly there. So in respect to this digital protection relay, what are some of the key advantages for the user? Of course, there is the embedded arc flash protection, which is critical in a medium voltage application, in the applications that are there. People that are from the industry, they know that every of those panels needs to be maintained on a regular basis. That takes an average per panel 120 minutes. That means 120 minutes, your production process is off the energy. So it's critical that you make this much faster. So with the ESA GP5, we can do it 12 times faster. In 10 minutes, we do the mean time to repair on a panel. The best in the industry are promoting 30 minutes, so we're bringing it further down to 10 minutes. It's a huge saving. And of course, they are also worried about their personal safety. You have quite some loads on those power distribution centers. So what we do is through digitizing it, we can control it and we can monitor it from a safe distance, as you can see from the operator here, that can connect with his mobile phone to the arc flash protection unit and to the protection relay, and operate it. So he does not need to go close, which is a big factor. And then, of course, compliant to the latest standards in cybersecurity, which is Achilles certified. So clear integration of power into the automation space. If we're taking the second example, I'll take a machine builder. And in the machine building space, our customers are worried really about four things. Number one is they need to drive cost down. Total cost of the machinery is one of the things they want to drive down. Of course, they want to increase the performance. If you have a packaging machine and you can package more units in 1 minute, that means value to their end customer. A third one is, of course, digitization, because they also want to follow the trend. And here as well, enhancing cybersecurity is mission critical. So we're launching quite a few new products that would help customers in that space. And I'll give you an example of a booster pump application, very simple. So it's also to be understood by people who are not engineers. The old solution, or the classic solution, would look basically from a cabinet perspective like this, and the new one like this here. What we have done, it's exactly the same application for the user. We've been able to reduce the net cost to our customer, total cost for this cabinet, by 20%, while we increase the performance of the motion, so the parts that are moving, by 30%. And in respect to the logic, we are 4 times faster. So quite a few performance criteria that are there, and customers are quite excited. Launched today at the Hannover Fair, and there are 2 critical product lines in here to which I'm going to be talking a little bit in addition. And of course, there's direct connectivity to the cloud with a plug-and-play solution. The contactors can be commissioned with a digital tool. And then, of course, here also Achilles 2 cybersecure the solution. Now, if we zoom in onto the contactor products, the TeSys is the product family that everybody knows, who's been working with Schneider for a long time, and the new product is TeSys Island. It has already won the design award, the IF Design Award for 2019, which is pretty recognized in Germany and in Europe, and quite a nice and clean way of doing the cabinet. So in this example, you can completely eliminate the auxiliary wiring. It's completely gone. You can, in our example, take out 4 of the I/O modules of the PLC. They're all embedded in the contactor. The engineering time with the avatar system will reduce the engineering time significantly. We've taken out 1 router. We've taken out 3 protection relays in it because they're embedded. We were able to take a power supply that in the old solution was 10 amps. We'd be able to do it with a 5 amp. All of that takes out 20% cost saving out of this small application. Now imagine if you go to a larger one, what kind of potential there is for the customer. And all of that, of course, with embedded cybersecurity up to Achilles level 2, and then also a safety level up to CAP 4. Now, of course, there is also the PLC and the motion side to that in this application, and that's furnished with the Modicon 262, which is our new IoT-ready logic and motion controller. You can plug and play and get data to the cloud very fast. Commissioning time also very much reduced. You can bring in the contactors into the commissioning system of this motion and PLC solution very nicely. And with that, of course, you are much, much faster in logic. Safety here as well, and of course also increased uptime with the engineering system that's behind there. So this has been extremely well received on the first day as one of the key new offerings that we have. The contactors and the PLCs and the motion is of course a huge offering that Schneider has. Then we said, I said, how do we easily get started? And some of you who have been here last year may remember that we've talked about certain advisors, which are, cloud-enabled applications that help customers to get relevant data out of their applications to the cloud, and with that data either improve the usage of energy or improve the safety of the system. I'm talking HSE safety, so in respect to human capital and so forth. So this year we're launching 7 additional advisors here at the Hannover Fair in respect to further optimizing workspace that we have, or reducing power that is required in certain applications, to help gain visible insights into the data center operations. A safety advisor to understand enterprise-wide safety. A clean place advisor sounds pretty cool. If you're in the food and beverage or in the pharmaceutical industry, because you need to make sure that you have in your clean rooms the environment that allows you to produce. Here the Clean in Place advisor helps you, and so forth. So 7 advisors launched this year to support our customers in individual verticals. So not a platform that is launched, but individual, easy to get started applications. Now, if we're talking also about larger customers in their digital transformation, they ask us, how can I bring my complete factory into, let's say, a digital command and control center? Or they say, I have several factories and I like to bring them all on one level to be able to compare them. Now, we've been allowed to share one example of our customer, ADNOC, in Abu Dhabi, and you see I switched the logo, so I speak on behalf of AVEVA, which is a company owned by Schneider Electric, at least 60%. So they have 12 different operating companies that they wanted to bring into one, digital command and control center called Panorama. If you look at it, it looks a little bit like Star Trek. This wall is 50 meters long, 3 meters high, and brings more than 100,000 data points of their 12 operations into one room. Now, people have said, this is going to cost millions and it's going to take years to do that. That's not right. We've done this with a customer in 8 weeks. From the start to the finish of the product, get 100,000 data points, including visualization on the screen. And it does not require top experts to do it. People don't believe it, so that's why I've brought a little bit of a short video to which I'm going to be talking about that will show you how this is done without any knowledge of programming language. And actually you can also see that in the booth, the Schneider booth, where a simple application that we're showing here is part of the solution. Now, if we could start the video. So first of all, you start designing the screen, and you have a lot of different possibilities here to select how the screen will look like. You pick one, you choose it. You have a division by 3 screens. Now you say, what do I want to show in those 3 screens? So you go to them. This is the so-called low-code, no-code environment that technical folks have heard about. So you don't need any programming. It's basically a drag and drop of how some screens should look like. So you can see here it's configuring 3 screens in one and says how it should look like. Once that's done, the next thing you do is you attach data to those screens. In this case, they put a map here. Then an alarm application where the alarms are brought to the screen. This is all done automatically. You don't need to do any programming in the background. So he goes to the second screen, wants to do the same now for the second screen and the third screen. Here, in this case, he's pulling AVEVA engineering data in 1D, 2D, and 3D design that's available. Is going to be dragged on. Application finished. That's the application that was just created here. This screen. You see how quickly that was. 5 minutes. You're basically done in doing that screen and bring it into a larger application. In this example here, we're combining real-time historical data that comes out of the plant. We can see the trends. We can see the load, for example. Then we look at the 3D model. So this is what people would call, this is the digital twin of the factory that had been designed with the AVEVA software, where you can see context-sensitive what's going on. And here is some asset management modules where you can do preventive maintenance on a pump, for example. It will tell you when it's going to fail in the future. So in a second, you'll see the alarm that came up, and it clicked on the alarm, and then context sensitive, the asset or the piece of equipment where the alarm was came on the screen. And earlier we said, bring us the schematics on the screen. Here's the schematics. So the process and instrumentation diagram automatically pulled up. So we've programmed this earlier. You see, of course, I'm speaking a little bit fast here. In 5 minutes, we've been able to link these data together. Since this is all most modern software that's used, you can use it on multiple devices, also on your tablet. So if you send people out into the field, they can actually take this software with them into the field and do respective maintenance work and go through the individual data that you would see here. In this case, the pump system. So it's kind of an end-to-end journey that we have developed with the AVEVA software and the Schneider software together. And now we have eliminated many of the interfaces that were there before. I invite you to have a look at that in the Schneider booth. We go all the way down to the motor. If the motor fails, it will pop up in the automation system. You click on the automation system and it will show you the digital twin where this motor is deployed, what kind of piping is connected to the pump, what kind of valves are there, and what kind of service needs to be done. So a full integration, very uniquely integrated together for our customers in process industries. We're also showing, of course, this was an example of a refinery. In the booth, we are showing the same for a food and beverage plant, just to have 2 examples, but it is for different industries. So quite a journey in the last 12 months that we've brought this together, and the beauty is it's all since January available in the cloud, and people can consume as much as they want to consume, meaning it's available on subscription. You don't need to buy the whole packages, you just buy as much as you want and as you need. So very, very unique offering that we have in the process industries here as well, and that shows you the end-to-end integration. Now, obviously, I've shown very simple applications to more complex one in the machine to even more complex one. Is not all what Schneider can do. I think it requires quite a network of partners, and we have always promoted that. And also in the digital journey, I think it's important to see how can we help with digitization means our partners to participate in these opportunities because we want to jointly create. We also want to collaborate with them and then figure out how we can scale it. But Jean-Pascal is going to talk to you more about exchange.
Thank you, Peter. So, yeah, well, if you look at Schneider, we are the company of partnership. If there are 2 words that we have always chosen to develop our systems on open standards, we have always been the company that channels the most of its technologies through partners, integrators, people who put those technologies together to fit the need of the customers. And we are very excited because that was mostly a physical interaction so far, but digital breaks the silos. Digital put the people in relationship across geographies, across origins, and that opens tons of possibilities when you speak about solving problems of a customer. So this is the world we live in today. If you have the chance to be at NOC, everybody is visiting you because you are one of the biggest oil and gas companies in the world and everybody is able to integrate for you. But if you are a normal company, then you don't know what is digitally available in the world while you still have a digitization issue. So what we are trying to put together here is Exchange, which connects people who have problems, and there are millions of them, together with the communities that we work with. And so far, we've been working with 650,000 integrators around the world, 20,000 software developers. Sometimes they are small companies, but very, very innovative. And their problem is to detect to which customer they can sell and with whom they can collaborate. And the more we go into the digital, the more we see that finding a solution is not the purpose just of one company, but it's collaboration across diverse companies. So we've been piloting beta testing over the past 12 months, Exchange, which is this digital place where people meet to solve customers' real problem. First, for customers to identify who can help, and for people who have the solution to make sure that they can find the right place where they can apply their technology and their solution, and place of collaboration. So if you make it simple, because this is after 12 months of Exchange and development, this is the official launch of Schneider Electric Exchange. After 12 months, you have already 2,000 companies working on that as we speak, and it's still a beta version of Exchange. And now we're going to be deploying it completely, much more actively. And purpose is very simple. The first one is innovation, is about creation, co-creation between players to solve real problems. Exchange is for people who do, people who want to resolve an issue. It's about collaboration, putting the people in contact, and it's about scaling out. If you are a small company, a medium company, or you don't have the reach into another geography or another customer, then you can use Exchange to find a much larger access to your technology. So it's, to simplify, it's done of three subsystems. First, a set of technical resources and toolbox, which is actually the aggregation of the things that every player on Exchange is developing and wants to put available to the rest of the community. A set of private and public communities that you can build or to which you can participate. And then the digital marketplace where you can trade. And if you want to be paid for your service or your part of software, for you to decide on to trade simply with other companies. So let's give you a few examples. And again, we are just speaking at the end of the beta of the beta test of Exchange. Supertech, an Indian company, developed a library to accelerate the development of DCS. And that library is now available to anybody who wants to use it. 20% of acceleration, or 66%, sorry, acceleration in delivery of projects in this sector. InUse, Swedish company, working on clean in place, food and beverage, and there again, that saves water and that saves time on the process. Cognex, well-known company in the field of vision, developing label recognition for quality insurance application that are made available there again to the community of Exchange. And Predictive Layer, which is a Swiss company in a totally different sector, in facility management, applied to retail to improve the productivity of facility management. Those are the kinds of services, software that you find already on Exchange, and there are already a number of them directly available. So the goal there again, reach a larger base of customers for people who are participating, for people who develop technology, access to a vast library of resources, while redevelop things which have already been developed in the rest of the world, So the capacity of innovation, the capacity of development is getting completely magnified by the creation of Exchange, and digital tools and expertise put to scale, put to commercialization, to a much larger market than initially. So that's an invitation to join us on Exchange. Already 2,000 companies and several 10,000 people have already joined. And we are very excited to multiply the capacity of innovation of Schneider by the community of our partners. And that concludes our keynote on efficiency, triple integration, power and automation, connected products to cloud, lifecycle tools, and more important so, seamless collaboration with people working together to solve real customers' issues. Thank you.
So we will now open our Q&A session. So all the questions, you can ask all the questions also on YouTube or on Twitter at hashtag HAIM19SE for those following the media conference digitally. So we open the Q&A.
Frank Nolte from the German magazine TeSys. Jean-Pascal, you just explained us a little bit about Exchange. You have so much partner programs. What is so special with Exchange? Who can join? Who has the most benefit? And yeah, what makes it so unique?
Well, there are several things which are making it unique. The first thing is that it is already operating for 12 months, and it has already a very significant traction. The second point is that it is open. I mean, we are not asking you to go through our standards, through our redevelopment of your solution on one technology platform. We just offer participation and connection to the community. On the third point, it is shouldered on EcoStruxure, which has been highly deployed for the past 10 years. So when you think about it, the digital economy and the capacity to deploy machine learning is based on the quantity of data which has been accumulated. And we have 10 years of runway of EcoStruxure in the 6 domains that we already mentioned, which give a wealth of data when the customer makes it available to develop new applications, new analytics that then can be deployed somewhere else. But it's real. It's shouldered on massive data already accumulated, and we've been seeing already a great adoption of Exchange.
And who can join? Every OEM, every competitor of you, or?
Well, it's an open community space, right? So people can join and they can exchange together, right?
Hello, Jean-Pascal. On behalf of one of Korean media, a factory automation journalist, I would like to ask. Korea has achieved the huge economic growth in line with mainly manufacturing industry growth. So now Korea is facing the 2 new movements. First one is smart factory deployment. Second one is transition of renewable energy. So he thinks there are 2 important factors. Would be first one is digital transformation. Second one is predictive analytic ability. So would you please tell us this kind of a perspective and the role of Schneider Electric?
All right. Well, what you described for Korea, which has been always at the forefront of those technology evolutions, is pretty much what the world faces today. The convergence of power and automation. On one side, the decentralization of energy around renewable storage. So everybody is becoming a producer and consumer of energy, and this can be only managed if you digitize the system. Everybody, every company, every city today is in search of a greater efficiency. If you want to be competitive, if you're a company, if you want to be attractive, if you're a city, you have to be more efficient in regard to your impact on resources. So everybody's working on that reduction of carbon footprint, resource impact. It's very exciting because everything you mentioned, this is happening at a time where the Internet of Things is making the level of efficiency step changing to a new level, and at a time when electricity can become clean and decentralized, and saving, by the way, quite a lot of infrastructure. The only way to make that new space or the new transition work is to digitize it. And digitization has a sense only through the software that are managing it, right? That are coordinating the resources around. So what we see happening, while before managing things was just alarming or monitoring the elements on your facilities, is now evolving to a total life cycle of software capabilities. So you create from the inception of your project a digital twin, which we do through AVEVA 3D at Schneider. And then you move into commissioning. Your digital twin is translated by tools for commissioning, which means that commissioning that was taking a lot of time before is becoming completely digital and completely automated. In the old world, which is still 80% of what is done in the world today, 30% of the cost of construction of a facility is in fact reconstruction of the facility, because when you arrive on a work site, the tubes, the pipes, the cables were not at the right place, and you've got different people, different workers bickering on things. And then you go into the world of operation. And because that digital twin of your facility can be completely transported into the world of operation, then you're going to have plenty of tools to improve the efficiency of what you do, including predictive maintenance tools, so that you avoid breakdowns. It's not the only one. As Peter was saying, while in the past you were managing your factories or your facilities or your buildings one by one, now you can aggregate what they do together, you can compare, you can benchmark, you can organize the flows from one side to the other side, and this is done incredibly easily respect to before, thanks to a full digitization of your installations. So what Korea is going through, and somewhere pioneering, is something that everywhere we are doing with our customers. But it's a major, it's not by surprise that it's called energy transition or Industry 4.0. It's a major change of paradigm on both sides.
Some other questions?
So Jean-Pascal, Lucien Fogoro, Society World. The question is, can you elaborate on the digital twin? So you mentioned over 80% it's brownfields. How does it work in brownfields?
Well, look, I mean, when you, a large part of the digitization is happening in brownfield, right? Because most of the things have been installed when you're in construction, when you're in factory, when you're in manufacturing, most of the things have been done have been already constructed. So your first point is to digitize it, and the good news that new technologies really allow you to do it in I would say in a pretty accessible way. What Peter was describing for ADNOC was not coming on a greenfield. It was coming on putting a layer of aggregation between existing sites. And then after, you've got multiple ways of doing it, right? But one of the ways to rescan installation, yesterday I was with the customers, they had rescan an installation and brought it in 3D. You can digitize in 2D, you can digitize in 3D. But the advantages are multiple to go to a 3D model. For obvious reason, not only for your capacity to make your factory live as designed, as commissioned, and as operated, but also because each of your operators the next day can go around with a 3D model and with a clear indication of what to do. I don't know if you want to do that.
It's the key question that many of our customers have, that, as Jean-Pascal said, more than 80% is built already, and there is no digital model. So you use a 3D scanning, and I know it's difficult to see. I don't know whether the camera can bring this on the screen here. I'm not sure whether we're able to do that. We haven't checked that before. But those who are interested, come and see me. I have that with me because the customer are asking. This is a normal machinery that's used in a Dr. Oetker plant, and they have asked us to scan their complete plant because they don't have digital models. And so you have the digital model, and you can actually, I don't know whether I can do this from here. You choose a certain portion of the machine that is interested, you pick it and it will zoom automatically into it. I understand it's difficult to see, but please come and see me. This is technology that's available because of the problem of not having digital data from the history. And these 3D scanners and the software that comes with it is of course rocketing through the channel.
And then you can imagine the productivity when you can reposition that documentation on the cloud, right? Because the real life is that you have a problem in a place and you never find the right drawing, the right thing in due time, while having digitized everything, everybody can get access to the data from the control room into the shop floor. Yeah.
Hi, Matt Littlefield at LNS Research. Jean-Pascal and Peter, I was excited to see the AVEVA use case on your presentation. Could you talk just a little bit about how you see that relationship evolving, especially around how you're jointly going to together deliver value to customers?
Happy to, and have the chairman add in. As I said earlier, the reason we choose the structure that we did in forming a separately listed company is two. Software developers want to work for software developers. So we've created a pure software company with several thousands of software developers, and they're really excited about it. The second reason why we have chosen this structure is the software is so great that sometimes it also works on somebody else's automation equipment. So we want to make sure that they can sell agnostic to anybody else. And then, of course, these are two technical reasons. There's also a financial reason that is with it. If you look at the market cap of the company, is rated like a tech company, almost 7 billion in market capitalization. So it has been a very nice, financial result for us because we consolidated into the company. Now, of course, there are very close interactions that we have with agreements, so they can work on an arm's length principle. Development agreements, OEM agreements, partnership agreements, and the Schneider Electric is the largest channel for AVEVA software to the market. So, and it works pretty well together. I mean, these people know each other together. We're talking to the same customers, and customers come to us, customers come to AVEVA, and at the end of the day, it's not only about the software, but it is also how you bring the real world to the software that we're selling, and that's, at the end of the day, what makes a big difference.
Yes.
Microphone's coming.
Hello. 2 years ago, you have a massive problem. We came under attack, especially malware. And people in the German industry, especially the chemical industry, they have some fear that there are still some open doors. You believe you close all this door? You're sure for the next decades?
Thanks for the question. You're referring to the Triton incident that happened at one of our customers. Actually, the customer name is meanwhile also known in the market. There was a usage of our safety system that the customer or the integrator that installed it left the programming bottom on programming. So it was very easy. It's the same, for non-technical guys, is if you have a house and you leave your door open, it's an invitation for people to come in, right? If you close the door and lock it, and that's why we have this programming switch, then it's very difficult to get in. Now, in this case, people came in from the outside. The system detected it, and this was a critical infrastructure. So the system is designed for a safe shutdown of the system. What did the system do? It detected that something happened, It safely shut down the plant, so there was no loss in any value. Our people were on site in 4 hours, fixed the problem fairly quickly, and then we came up with a couple of procedures to make sure that these kind of things cannot happen again. So that was 2 years back, and we've been actually applauded by the community, how we handled it, how we shared it also, because it's not a problem that is only related to our equipment. This can happen to many other equipment as well. Quite a lot of things written about this incident.
But cybersecurity will be a permanent growing investment into our R&D. And if you look across the years, the money we put in R&D is constantly increasing. On a large part is due to digital. On a large part of digital is due to cyber. This is also why it has been important for us over the past 20 years to build EcoStruxure as a platform, because then everything we do is reused everywhere. So we can neutralize the money that we put on defenses across the whole lineup of Schneider. But it's going to be a never-ending journey. Yeah.
Yeah, Keith Larson with Control and Smart Industry. I really appreciate your comment, Jean-Pascal, around the importance of life cycle integration. Certainly AVEVA is well known for plant design software. Any initiatives on more of the traditional PLM product design type software for the non-industrial type assets that you can share with us?
Well, our focus is about industry, and about the manufacturing, about the plant. So before thinking about other things, our real and complete focus is about the digitization of the life cycle, not exactly of the product,
Of the assets.
but of the assets, because this has been an under-digitized part of the equation. And this is where a large part of the performance, the productivity, the reliability of your company is residing. So this is a place where we want to keep focusing.
And growing.
And growing.
Thank you.
Anything online?
I'm Bruno Falk from IP Media Online. Jean-Pascal, we talk a lot about what Schneider offers to the customers. We don't talk about here today about how people are working within Schneider and who brings this, because I think human people working with Schneider are important to you.
Yeah, it is. Well, I don't know what you have behind your question, but we have always, we don't have, I would say, a vision of things completely automated. We put automation and digital to the service of people.
I mean the people working within Schneider to develop all what you offer to your customers.
So I explained a bit of the transition that Schneider has been through over the past 15 years. What we've learned when we were 1/3 of the company that we are today, which is not so long ago, still remember that time, is that when you go into digital, you live 24/7 with your customers. And when we started to go, and you need to know the process, the language, the real pain points of your customers. So for us, what it has meant is to bring inside Schneider thousands of software people, thousands of application people who were from a different culture, and make them benefit from having access to the product and the technologies of the other guys who were already there. So that's one. The second point is that every plant, every logistics center, and we have 200 plants. I mean, many people speak about manufacturing. Well, we speak about manufacturing, and we do manufacturing. We've been ranked last year by Gartner as one of the best supply chain in Europe, actually the best supply chain in Europe in the industrial field, and in the world in the top 10 of the supply chains. And what we've said to our people in the plants, in those plants, with a lot of empowerment, is use all of those technologies and innovate to the limit. And we use those technologies in all of our plants every day. In most of our offices, when we are the owners of offices, same thing, we deploy our technologies of smart building, green building, and smart data center. So we bring those technologies to the customer with new breed of people who can speak the language of the customers on those new expertise in software and digitization. And we all are very excited to deploy those technologies inside our own site.
A good way to improve the technology before.
Absolutely, absolutely. And when I say test it to the limit, is that we are, of course, taking risks or trying things that we wouldn't try with our customers.
For next year.
Yeah.
Okay, we will take one last question.
Hi, Mr. Tricua. I'm Constanza Saavedra from an industrial magazine from Spain. We have been seeing some important global agreements between Rockwell and PTC, between AVEVA and Dassault Systems. And I'm wondering what is thinking Schneider Electric about it, and if you're looking for some in this way?
Look, what we did before was before those movements who are more alliances, I would say, is to build patiently and persistently over the past 15 years, step by step, developing by ourselves, buying some companies, a fully dedicated software company called AVEVA, which, as Peter said before, is now listed in London, is one of the biggest technology companies in the UK, and in Europe, actually. So that company has a turnover which is very significant, $1 billion around, and has been growing very satisfactorily. So we are not making those kind of touch points, but we have been very serious in building our own capability, fully dedicated to digitization of manufacturing. Okay, so that's a very good question. Thank you for asking it.
So thank you, and thank you to those of you on YouTube that have been asking a lot of questions also, and I think all of them will be tried to be answered. So thank you to all of you also. Now, I just want to remind you that we have this guided booth tour planned at 4:30 p.m. today with Marie-Beth. So join us on our on button on our booth, all 11 C58. Thank you very much
All
to
11
all of you.
C58, and thank you for your time and for being with us this afternoon together. Thank you very much.
Thank you.